Getting started, I simply want to talk about what I gained in 2015. And the way that I broke this down was I broke it down by saying what my losses were, what my gains were, and then ultimately what was the profit from those things. Okay. So in 2015, my losses, really, I found myself in a space of time, especially towards the middle or the end of the year, where I was just weighed down by being needed so much, being desired so much, being pouring into people and not necessarily finding myself in a space where I had those types of things given back to me. And so I really lost a lot of myself for a great period of time. I would find myself in spaces and not necessarily be able to take advantage of the opportunities simply because my mental space was just not in a positive place. I was just not in a positive place, and whether it was noticed by others or not, it was definitely something that was noticed by me. And so it really took a toll on me professionally as well, simply because I decided that the resolution was to take some time away and come to myself so that I can come back more refreshed, more revitalized. As a life coach, it's very, very easy for us to ultimately pour into others, and if we are not refilling ourselves with everything that we give out, then we really lose a lot ultimately. And so as a life coach, it's really essential for us to just find ourselves in positive places, in positive mental spaces with positive connections. And the idea is not that everything is always going to be happy. Everything is not going to always be positive, but it's definitely so that we can be resilient realistically. Many of us are resilient, but we are resilient really carrying a lot of stuff behind closed doors, carrying a lot of stuff that others are not aware of. Even we ourselves are not aware of some of these things because we are not always realistic about those realities. And so what I had to do is I just really had to take some time to myself. No explanations given, none requested, none needed. I did not make it a public announcement necessarily, but it was something that I just really had to do for myself. I found myself in a place of really just despair. It was just a lot of weight on me for everything that I felt like I was lacking, everything I felt like I was not gaining, everything that I was given and not necessarily felt like I was receiving back, because sometimes we will look at our life based off of where you think you're supposed to be. And if you're not where you think you're supposed to be, then it just takes away from all of everything that you actually ultimately put into yourself as well as your clients. So all of your outputs really are tainted by whatever is coming back in you. So if you're not putting, again, some positive, realistic, positive things back into yourself, then you end up being drained. And so in my case, this just was a lot of mental despair, a lot of heavy things that kept weighing on me, a lot of negativity in my environment. And because I seemed not to be able to get myself out of those places, it just really caused me a great sense of dis-ease. And the interesting thing about it is I tell people all the time, I'm always smiling. I'm always very bubbly. I'm always pretty animated. And so it's really hard to tell when something is really afflicting me because you just will not know. And I can know it all day, but I never really find myself in a place where I can share what that might be. Okay, so that's where I found myself. I just found myself in a heavy place. And so really ever since September, I've just taken a back seat to everything. I really attended conferences. I attended some workshops. I attended meetings. I attended trainings. I was a student and not the teacher. And so that was actually very good for me, refreshing myself, feeding back into myself, and even getting ideas for how I wanted to start off my year and how I wanted to ultimately finish my year in 2016. So those were some of my losses. Ultimately, I also lost many friendships along the way. There are things that I was praying to God, and as God began to manifest those things, ultimately I was trying to pull back those things that I was praying out. And so I'm very fortunate in God being consistent, because even when I'm not consistent, He really kept pulling those people away. He kept pulling things away. He kept pulling nonsense away. And I'm so glad and pleased that He can be ultimately the one who gets it done. Because when He pulled those things away, He pulled them in such a way where I really had nothing to say. There is nothing I can do about it. And I always tell people, if someone is walking out of your life, open the door and let them walk. Open the door and let them walk, especially if you have not done anything wrong. Then open the door and let them walk, because ultimately for our growth, many times we have to not just let things go, but let things leave. Sometimes we think it's something that we have to proactively do. You don't. But when those things are walking away, open the door, let them leave, open windows, whatever it is, let them go. And so that's where I was. That's where I was, okay? Despair, dis-ease, the sense of loss, the sense of longing. And what I decided ultimately was I did not want to feel that way anymore. I did not want to feel those weights. I did not want to feel those pressures. I really just did not want to be an angry, bitter, negative person, especially if no one knew about it, so no one could help me. And so what I wanted to do is I told God, it's like, God, I'm tired of being this way. I'm tired of feeling this way. So God, I really need to change my posture, change my life, which is the title of my book. I really needed to just change my internal framework, my internal makeup, such that even though outwardly it seems like I have the life, I'm just living it up, internally I needed to be the reality of that perfect picture that people see on the outside. And so I need to have that, again, realistic view. And so that was what my losses were. Now, my gains ultimately was that I found renewal. I found so much renewal, and really just taking that time to myself, doing the work on myself, just focusing on me. Again, no explanations, no excuses. If people wanted to walk away, letting them walk away, opening the door, standing right by the exit, directing the traffic so that it can be a speedy walk. So some of my gains were that I found focus, and removing those things and letting those things leave. I was able to find the renewal that I needed, the focus that I needed, and ultimately that led to momentum. Many times we are weighed down by things, and so we cannot produce, we cannot be creative, we cannot find ourselves in new spaces, taking advantage of new opportunities, because we are weighed down by people, places, things, and sometimes that blockage may be yourself. And so for me, I was able to find momentum that I have not seen and really have not felt in many, many years. And so that was what I was able to gain. Now, ultimately, the profit was that I found my strength. I found my strength in myself, and not that that had ever necessarily been lost, but sometimes, again, amidst all of the foolishness, you can really lose your ultimate sense of self. And so I found my strength again. I also found my truth again. It goes back to the reality that I've been talking about. Finding that truth and that reality, the real depiction of yourself. And all of these were essentially just reminders. These aren't things that we are, needing to be told, but sometimes you do need that time to come back, be renewed, be reinvigorated, be re-energized, such that you can just have the reminders of the things that you already know, okay? So ultimately for me in 2016, that puts me in a great place where I am here just thriving on creativity, thriving on ideas. Everywhere that I go, I really see the spark of ideas and different things that I am wanting and desiring to produce. And so I'm finding myself in a great mental space. I'm finding myself in a very, very great spiritual space, because that really gave me a space of time where I could pray and talk to God. It's like, okay, God, I didn't know how alone you wanted me to be, but since I'm here, then let's talk. Let's do this. You're my friend. Let's have communication. Let's rekindle our flames. And so that's where I was. And I'm finding myself again in a place where I am high energy. I am here looking forward to impressing myself this year, because everything I was unable to previously accomplish, then I'm definitely slated to accomplish those things in this year. And I really am looking forward to it. Something that I wrote in my notes is that I'm feeling the need or the desire, or really just in the space where I can rekindle old flames, relight the passion that is in myself. We talk a lot about that in relation to other people and other relationships and intimate relationships. But where's the intimacy if you don't have that with yourself? Where's the passion if you don't have that with yourself and for yourself? So for those of you who are listening, you may also need to rekindle some of those flames that you have, whether it be a spiritual flame, a professional flame, whatever it might be. You may need to rekindle those flames, okay? And so I wrote down some things that I am going to be looking forward to doing, and I hope that you would do the same. I am going to each month write a focus statement, and I'm going to attach that statement also to a scripture, okay? And for this year, I have a focus statement too. And that focus statement for this year is just letting God's will be done. I've spent many, many years just beating to the tune of my own drum, talking to God, consulting with God, making sure it was okay, but still ultimately doing my own thing. So this year, I'm very much looking forward to waiting on my help. God is my help, and so letting Him just have His way in my life so that anything I do would definitely be His will. And as this towel behind me says, God over everything. And I have to remember that, and not just remember it and making sure that I'm doing right according to that, but just stopping and let God do what He will do and placing myself under His covering. And sometimes we're so busy working and working and working and doing and just checking off things off our list. And really, it's like, are we doing what we want to do? Or are we doing what God wants to do? And having God approve our list, or are we going according to His list that is already approved? Okay, and so that's my question for you. That's also my challenge for you. Create a focus for this year. What will be your 12-month focus? And as it relates to that focus, ultimately, then for each of those 12 months, have a separate focus that's aligned with that overall focus for your year. So mine is letting God's will be done, okay? Letting His will be done. And this month, I'm focusing definitely on faithfulness, more specifically my commitments, renewing my commitments to myself, showing myself again that strength that I'm made of, my foundation, my rock, my support, being that Jesus is my help, God is my help. Then I will put that back of all of my commitments and just have the renewal that I need in every space of life. Okay, so that for me was my gains, my losses, my profit ultimately for the year of 2015. And it's also how I'm looking forward to going into the year of 2016. So I just wanted to share that with you. It's where my head is at. I guess it's around midnight now. But you will be looking forward to seeing, please look forward to seeing new things that I will have releasing. I will be focusing this year on helping others build their brands. So we will be doing a lot of branding, marketing, those types of things, even Periscope. It will be talking about a lot of social media connections, how to build lists, how to do your marketing on social media, how to really just engage with your clients, your customers, how to create a demand for your service. And there will also be, as it relates to that, talking about how to profit. We will talk a lot about profitability this year as well. And outside of those two things, I will also be spending a ton of time this year focusing on my aspiring writers. So if you are a writer, if you are interested in publishing any works of yours in whatever formats that you would like to have those published, then be on the lookout for the things that I will be releasing this year. It will be programs, it will be recordings, it will be DVDs. It will really be in any format you would have it be in. I will give it to you in all of those various ways so that you can consume those materials in the best way possible for you. So that will be courses, that will be workbooks, that will be live sessions, that will be virtual sessions, that will be in-person things as well. So be on the lookout for my full schedule in the coming week or so. Okay, and if you need to check out any other thing that I'm doing, you can follow the hashtag Coach D Nicole. That is Coach, the letter D, Nicole. You can visit me at CoachDNicole.com, Facebook /Coach D Nicole, Instagram /Coach D Nicole, Google Plus, Coach D Nicole .com. I'm excited for what this year holds, and I hope that you all are excited too. I'm looking forward to everything that you will produce. And so whatever it is that you're producing that I can be a part of, that I can help, support, share, whatever it is, then just let me know. I would love to be a supporter, a fan, a friend, and a follower. So Coach D Nicole signing off. Please don't forget to come up with your year's motto as well as your monthly mottos, and feel free to share this insight with your friends, and also just write it down, whatever you need to journal, so that you can be committed and faithful to yourself this year and this month. Then go ahead and do those things. Okay, I love each of you lots. I'm wishing you the best. Yes, Coach D Nicole. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope that you are as excited about this year as I am. This is definitely going to be the year of plenty. So whatever plenty means to you, that is what it will be. Change your posture, change your life. Okay. Happy New Year. I love each of you too. Thank you so much for the hearts. Thank you all for the support. Again, if you need anything from me, do not hesitate to let me know. I'm here for you, and I love each and every one of you. Okay? Have a wonderful, wonderful night.